A round of applause again for Senator Learight for helping put this on. I was doing an interview in that back room back there about how great this is and that us just getting together and talking. And this is going to be the beginning of a lot of things. And as I said, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of, I hope, a whole lot of more lake development in the state of Oklahoma. But this summit wouldn't have happened if Senator Learight, for the public-private partnership legislation that he helped lead a couple years ago with a lot of the great members that are here, that was also a beginning of a lot of great things for the state of Oklahoma. But this was really his vision to help put this summit on. And we hope, again, that this is one of many things into 2020. I want to speak a little bit to just the tourism industry in the state of Oklahoma. I'm for all tourism, but I'm certainly for lake development tourism. Can I get an amen? We need that in the middle of everything that we're doing from a tourism perspective. But a lot of people don't realize how big of a deal this is. And I think that is a reminder to all of us that we have to make sure that we go back into our communities and talk about how important this industry is for a lot of reasons. But I'll just kind of give you the top line to start with. Third largest industry in the state of Oklahoma, our tourism industry. Oil and gas, kind of a big deal. Aerospace, which is now the #2 industry in the state of Oklahoma, kind of a big deal. Third largest industry is tourism. Third largest industry in the state. I mean, over 100,000 jobs across the state of Oklahoma tied to this tourism industry. It's recession-proof in a lot of ways, too. Tourism is. People are going to spend recreational dollars even in a recession. The numbers prove it. The research shows it. And that also means a whole lot more staycations. But overall, that it is fairly recession-proof. And we've seen this really in the numbers. The other reason this is so important is that we live or die on sales tax. I've crisscrossed this state many, many times. And when I go into these communities, I'm talking to a city manager or I'm talking to a mayor. And yes, we're talking about roads and bridges. I'm sure there's probably been some infrastructure talk in this room today. We're talking about workforce. Don't get me wrong. We're talking about K through 12 education system. Absolutely. But that mayor and that city manager wants to talk to me about sales tax and how to increase sales tax in Skiatook, in Ada, in Stillwater, because we live or die on it. And if we're going to continue to be the most sales tax dependent state in the country, which arguably we are, we've got to do this. We've got to do lake development and we've got to do tourism, because those are some of the easiest dollars for us to go after. I mean, they really are. And the great news is that no state can match our heritage and our history. I mean, there's not another state that can match our heritage and our history. And so why are we not talking about it? It's one of the biggest reasons that I ran for lieutenant governor, because I just saw a void there, that if we just started talking about it more, and that also means marketing dollars behind it, then we would get more people to the state of Oklahoma. You got to invite them. You got to invite people for them to show up, and you got to build things for them to go inside of. And we've got to make sure that we connect those things. So a lot of what I've been doing with certainly our Senate leadership and our House leadership, Josh West is here, who is our tourism chairman in the House, is having a conversation with them that we need to make sure that we're having more marketing dollars behind this industry. And telling people why they should be coming to our lakes. Because if we can get them there, then they start dreaming about things like this. And then we can do those public-private partnerships. We can fix some of the headaches that you guys have. And I know you have them, okay? Believe me, we get it. And we can kind of partner with you on it. But we got to invite them first. And so you need to know kind of where we're at as a state on that too. Your entire promotional budget, okay, and it is your budget because these are tax dollars that I'm spending. Your entire marketing budget for the state of Oklahoma is $5.75 million. My marketing budget was capped 5-6 years ago when the state of Oklahoma kind of ran out of money. Remember that? How quickly we forget. I guarantee you our legislators have not forgotten that. But we live or die again on that oil and gas industry, because we're going to get a whole lot more diversified with Sean Copeland's help and a whole lot of other people in the private sector. But we started all of these cuts, 35, 40, 45% cuts to agencies, because we sent our legislators down to the state capitol with and a lot of times not enough money to operate state government. It wasn't their fault, but we sent them down there on a roller coaster. That's what we do, because we're so tied to that oil and gas industry. And when that happened, we capped the marketing fund in the state. Before, it was not capped. But we capped it at $5.75 million. Texas's budget, $41 million a year. They spend $10 million internationally. They have a $41 million promotional budget in that nation, and that's one of the reasons they believe they're a nation. There's 28 million people down there, and they have $41 million to spend. Michigan's 28 million. Arkansas is in the $10 to $15 million range. We're at 5.75. So I don't believe that's enough. And I guarantee you I will spend that 5.75 better than it's been spent before. And we will make sure that we spend those very precious taxpayer dollars in a much better way. If that's all I get, then we're gonna turn Oklahoma into a top 10 tourism state regardless. But you need to know that. And I need you going back into your districts, talking to your state reps and state senators about how we're marketing the state of Oklahoma. Where are we going? Where are we spending dollars to invite people to Oklahoma? Are we spending money internationally? Are we spending more money on TV versus on the digital side that is growing by leaps and bounds? I want you having those conversations with your state reps and state senators. And I guarantee you the ones that are in the room today get it. I mean, they get it. That, believe me, we need more money for education and roads and bridges. Of course we do. But we have to make sure that we're marketing the state and we're telling a good story across the state of Oklahoma and across the world. And that marketing budget really needs to be in the middle of it. And I can absolutely prove it that you're going to get all the money back. Because for every dollar I spend on tourism advertising, I get $7 back. That ROI is very hard to find inside state government. But we got it in the tourism department. And it's one of the reasons I'm so excited and passionate about leading the agency is because my job is to make you money. I mean, it is. I mean, when I get phone calls from the press saying, well, what's your vision for tourism? Well, my vision for tourism is to make a big pile of money for the state of Oklahoma. I mean, what do you think my vision is? That's why it's not just to go around and preach about this, but it's to help you make more money. And we can do it. And I can give you a specific example of how we are doing it, and that is the Oklahoma Fishing Trail. There's a gentleman on the front row here. Tom, raise your hand. So Tom and I were on his dock at Grand Lake. You may have heard of that lake. It's a good one from lake development perspective. And we were sitting there, and he said, Matt, you know what we have that a lot of other states don't have? And I said, what, Tom? He said, most diverse fishing in the entire country, which is true. I mean, we got paddlefish down to trout. I mean, we got it all. I mean, you can catch anything here. I know we don't have the ocean, but we got more shoreline than any other state in the country. And 200 lakes, right? I can go on and on with that, preaching to the choir a little bit there. But again, playing to our strengths. You all are one of our strengths. So I said, well, let's create an Oklahoma fishing trail because I'm sick and tired of seeing these billboards that say go to Alabama to go golfing on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. We've all seen these billboards for about a good decade in Oklahoma. I'm sick and tired of seeing that. I'm not going to Alabama to go golfing, okay? And if you do, don't do that anymore. Do that here, okay? I'm not spending my sales tax dollars in other states. And I'm very, if you've heard me talk, that's one of my biggest jobs is to go around Oklahoma and tell me, don't cross over the invisible line in Arkansas and go fishing. You keep your sales tax dollars in Oklahoma on our lakes. And one of the ways for us to be doing that is with this Oklahoma Fishing Trail. So we launched this, and the only reason I launched it is because I found money inside our existing tourism department, and I put somebody accountable to the project because I know it's shocking that inside state government sometimes there's no accountability. So I made sure that there was some accountable to the project, and I put a budget behind it. And we created loops. We picked the lakes. We partnered with the Oklahoma Wildlife Department. J.D. Strong and I have multiple conversations every single week, and I have for the last 9 months. We're going to partner on a whole lot of projects in my role as Lieutenant Governor. And we said, well, let's also have a grand slam of Oklahoma fishing. So if you catch 5 different species of fish and you upload your pictures to this website, we'll mail you a grand slam of fishing sticker so you can put it on your Yeti cup or your tackle box or whatever else, okay? Now, is that a small idea? Well, that's a small idea that's turned into, over the last 3.5 months, a 55-to-1 ROI for the state of Oklahoma. 55, we're getting 50, that's right. We're getting $55 back for every dollar I spend. So I've spent about $200,000 digital marketing effort on this, and we're targeting people in Dallas. Don't get me, absolutely. I want all that Texas money spent in Oklahoma. Some of the best dollars we can get. Oklahomans are doing it too, but we're able to track, because of technology in 2019, we can track this. I mean, the geofence and geotarget and spend specific dollars to specific people that we know will come to Oklahoma to do the Grand Slam of Oklahoma fishing. We've generated over $12 million for the state of Oklahoma off this campaign. If we invite people here to do things that they're going to do in their own state, we'll make money. But we have to make sure that we have, again, a marketing budget to go behind it. So that's one specific example, and that's a specific example I think goes directly to your industry that we're going to continue to do. We wanted to certainly see if this was going to work. I mean, that 55 to 1 ROI could be 100 to 1 ROI by next summer, because we're going to continue this campaign. This isn't stopping, and we're working with ODOT right now to get 200 directional signage across the state of Oklahoma. Because we launch campaigns all the time in Oklahoma, but have you ever seen a directional sign anywhere that said, hey, exit here for the top 10 bass fishing lake in the entire country, Grand Lake? We don't even have a sign on the turnpike that says it. So I want you to know that's how I think and that's how I'm operating. I have a meeting every month with ODOT. I'm all up in ODOT's business. Is someone from ODOT here? Tim Gatz with ODOT, and he loves it because he's a Route 66 enthusiast. He has a landscaping architectural background. He's a sales guy. He's glad that we have somebody that is pushing ODOT when it comes to directional signage. So we're going to have 200 signs that's directing people to lakes in the state of Oklahoma that we did not have before. And you need to thank ODOT for that. Okay, so next time you see someone with ODOT, yes. When we take out the silos and we work with other agencies, a lot of very magical things can happen. And that's what Sean Copeland talks about quite a bit as well. When he has over 30 agencies underneath him as the Secretary of Commerce, you take out the silos and you actually start working together, we can do some things in this state that we haven't done before. And I want you to know that's how we're going to operate. And that's how we're going to move the needle when it comes to lake development. I know that when it comes to your industry, there's some big rocks we got to move. It's a little harder when we're talking about federal regulations, working with the feds, working with the state. I get it. And this right here is the beginning to knowing where we do need to move those rocks. And you've got local elected officials. You got Jerry Winchester here, who's helping run tourism now. He's doing an awesome job. We start connecting tourism with all of these other agencies. We'll start seeing more of this lake development, and so that we don't have just 2 marinas built in the state of Oklahoma in the last 40 years, because that's not a good statistic that I want to continue to have to say. We want more development, not less, but we have to make sure that we're working with you all on it. Again, thank you all so much. Appreciate you. Thank you.